Hi there, I'm Jake. I'm a park ranger in the Blind Eternities. You know, as the weather starts warming up, more and more Magic the Gathering players are looking for an adventure. And I don't mean that. I mean real adventure. Outside, meeting new people, having new experiences. And in just a couple short months, one of the biggest adventures of the year is taking place. And with all adventures, we want to make sure that we are well prepared for what we might face, and that we have everything we need to make that as enjoyable as possible. Today, we're talking about surviving MagicCon Las Vegas. So when we talk about attending a convention like MagicCon Las Vegas, I think it's important to think not only about the event itself, but what we do to prepare for the event and the things that we do after the event concludes. So I'm going to break this up into a few parts, but before we get to any of those, I'm going to take off my park ranger hat for a minute, and I'm going to put on my Scoutmaster hat, because before I did all this park ranger stuff, I was a Scoutmaster with Boy Scouts of America. And as we all know, Boy Scouts, no matter where they're going or what they're doing, have one thing on them at all time. Well, 10 things. It's the 10 essentials. And so first I want to go over the 10 essentials of attending MagicCon Las Vegas. If you take nothing else away from this video, these 10 are critical. So without further ado, the 10 essentials of MagicCon Las Vegas. Number 1, bring water. We're in a desert, and it's easy to forget because you're inside all day, and there's not a lot of windows, that it's very hot and it's very dry, and you're going to dehydrate faster than you think. So keep filling up your water bottle and have it on you at all times. Bring something with a lid so you don't accidentally spill on the cards also. Number 2, bring a backpack to hold all of your stuff, including your water bottle. Make sure there's enough space for the stuff that you want to bring, as well as the stuff you might want to buy or the stuff that you get there anyways. On the first day, they're going to give you a goodie bag with a whole bunch of junk, and having to lug around a backpack and a plastic bag with stuff in it can just be kind of a pain. So leave a little bit of extra space. Number 3, well, we're here for a reason, so make sure you bring your cards. This is whatever decks you want to bring, whatever decks you plan on competing with. If you're doing a draft and you have specific lands or sleeves that you like to use, bring those too. Everything you need to actually play the game. In addition to that, bring any cards you want to sell or trade. A couple trade binders, maybe a long box with stuff in it. Whatever you plan on interacting with throughout the day, when it comes to card product, make sure you bring that with you. Because it can be kind of a pain to go to the event and then leave and come back. You lose a lot of time that way. Number 4, make sure you have your ID on you. This is your MagicCon actual event ID, as well as your personal ID. We're in Vegas, and if you do plan on going into town, you're going to need that with you. So having those with you throughout the event can be extremely helpful. Number 5, we want to have our phone with a phone charger. I'd encourage you to charge your phone fully up at the beginning of the day, but some of us have phones that are a little bit older, and they might peter out towards the evening. And we want to make sure that we don't have a dead phone when we're trying to figure out an Uber to get back to the hotel. So make sure that phone and phone charger go in your backpack. But it's not just having the phone with you, it's a little bit having stuff on the phone. So number 6 for us is the event apps. This is both the MagicCon app and the Magic the Gathering companion app. Make sure both of those are on your phone and that you're logged in, so that way you can keep track of all of the events that you're doing throughout the weekend, as well as having a life total tracker and all of the other fun things that come with that. It's just really handy, and having to stand there and wait to install and log into everything while an event is minutes away from starting is just too stressful. So make sure you have those ahead of time. That brings us to number 7, which is wear layers. Like I said earlier, we're in a desert, and a lot of people think, desert, hot, I don't need much. I'll wear shorts and a t-shirt, and that's fine. But it gets really cold in the evening, and you see these massive temperature swings, and just because it's 90 degrees at 10 a.m. doesn't mean it's not going to be 50 degrees when you leave at 8 or 9. So bring a couple layers, just a light jacket, something to keep you from getting sick, because obviously one of the worst things that can happen in a convention like this is getting sick halfway through. Number 8, we want to make sure that we have snacks with us, something we can munch on through the day. There is food there, and if you want to just buy it, bring money for snacks. But sometimes the lines get kind of long, and if you have things scheduled back to back, you might not have enough time to wait in that line. So have your water and snacks available in your backpack is just really easy and handy. Number 9, bring sunscreen. If you're gonna go outside, you're gonna burn pretty quickly. Even if you don't normally burn, you'll burn in Vegas. It is a very bright, unshady area if you start walking around outside. So bring sunscreen or a hat or something that you can use to just shield yourself. And finally, number 10, and this might be the most important, bring hygiene products. Whether that's deodorant or period products or whatever you might need throughout the day or throughout the weekend, just throw them in your backpack. Even if you don't know that you're gonna need them, being without them can be a pain. And I'm telling you this right now, if you can smell yourself a little bit, everyone else can smell you a lot. So having some deodorant that you can reapply throughout the day is really critical. And that's the 10 essentials for MagicCon Las Vegas. So now, let's get into what we can do ahead of time, the steps that we should take to prepare for the event and get ready for this awesome adventure. So MagicCon is only a couple short months away, and I know a lot of people have already bought their early bird passes that are planning on coming to the event. If you haven't, there are still tickets available, but that's not where it ends, because at a convention like this, there's a lot of different events that take place over the weekend, and many of them you have to sign up for ahead of time. If you're interested in playing in one of the unknown events or the Chaos Commander events, those fill up pretty quickly, and so it can be really important to buy those as soon as you possibly can. If you are looking to just play casually, you don't even need to worry about it. But I would encourage you, if you were scheduling some of these events, try to give a little bit of space between the events that you're scheduling, just to give you time to move from one event to another, and to capture any sort of delays that might occur with things running long or things needing to be shifted to a different part of the convention space. It just makes things a lot easier, and so scheduling and monitoring how your stuff aligns over the course of the weekend can be really important. The other thing that I would encourage you to do leading up to MagicCon is to practice with the decks that you plan on bringing. Have a good feel for it. I don't know that there's necessarily a high expectation of play, but it just can be a little stressful to be put on the spot in front of strangers playing with something that's unfamiliar. So if you are going to be playing casually, or if you are playing in a constructed event, make sure you have that down packed ahead of time, just so you don't feel that pressure starting to get to you over the course of the game. And if you do happen to get tired of playing things and buying things, because believe it or not, there is such a thing as too much magic at a time, there's a whole separate section of the event with artists, panels, and all sorts of other fun stuff that you can use to decompress, unwind, and just experience some of the things that make Magic really cool. Because as good of a game system as it is, I don't think it would have survived nearly as long without the community and the major creators and the art. There's so many people that started playing Magic because of the quality of the cards art. And there's going to be a whole selection of artists there that you can talk to and buy from and have sign your stuff. So I would encourage you, before the event starts, look through a few of your decks if there's any cards that really speak to you, and see if their artist is going to be there. Because it can be really special to have a card that you really appreciate signed by the person that made that art. And finally, the last thing I'll say is, going to MagicCon, it's a big space and you're probably going to do a lot of walking. The fact that it's at Las Vegas means you might be going up and down the strip. It's going to be a lot of time on your feet. Make sure you have comfortable shoes that are broken in and that you are ready to go, or bring a second pair. I know there's a lot of people that dress up for these events, and it can be fun to be in costume wearing something specific to the character, the style that you're going for. But if you're going for a long walk, pulling off whatever's on your feet and throwing on some Keds or Converse might be a lot more comfortable. So now let's move on to the event itself. What should we do at MagicCon once we walk in the door? So now let's move on to what we can expect from the event itself. When you arrive, maybe you drove in the morning of, or maybe you stayed in a hotel the night before. Either way, if you get there on time, there will be a line outside the building and you shuffle around like sheep at a theme park, but eventually you make it in the front door. And one of the first things they do is direct you over to the side and ask you to pick up all of the junk that came with your ID badge. But here's the trick. You just waited in a pretty long line, and you might not be inclined to wait in another pretty long line to pick up things that are pretty much guaranteed anyways. Those welcome bags will be there even later in the day. So if you don't feel like standing around, move on. You can go find other things to do, you can go sit down at the tables and play with people. There's a lot of different things happening at MagicCon. It's important to keep an eye on your schedule. Like I mentioned before, you want to make sure that you have those apps on your phone so you know what's coming up. If you have something planned, be there half an hour or 45 minutes ahead of time just to make sure there's no hiccups with logging on. Because I know in the two of the events that I did last year, they had weird login issues where some people who were signed up for the event weren't getting it on their Magic the Gathering companion app. So just making sure that all of that is squared away before the event actually starts. And I will say the staff is amazing. They're extremely helpful. They're pretty knowledgeable about how all the systems work. And if they don't know it themselves, they know who to ask. So they can get things smoothed out. But if you don't have an event coming up, you have a lot of options. If you're just looking to play Magic, there's a huge space where there's tables set up and you can sit down and play whatever you want. Now last year they had table tents with descriptions of kind of what you were looking for, competitive or casual or whatever. And you could also put up table tents for specific formats or whatever other stuff you wanted to do outside of Commander. And there's always people there that are willing to play whatever you want to play. I think my initial reaction to attending Magic 30 a couple years ago was that it is as close as you can get to the feeling of stepping off the boat at Duelist Kingdom in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. You are surrounded by hundreds of people that play the same game you play and are passionate about the same things you are passionate about. Just talking to people there can be an extremely enjoyable experience, and I encourage you to socialize with a lot of different people, because one of the things that makes Magic so cool and so interesting is the community itself. And if you ever do get tired of playing the game while at MagicCon, well, it doesn't just end there. You can go down to the shops and vendors, and they sell all sorts of wacky stuff from all throughout Magic's history. If there's specific old weird cards you're looking for, someone has it there. And if you're just looking for playmats or other things, well, you can probably find pretty much everything that's ever been printed. And if you're not looking to buy things, upstairs they have this whole floor set out where they're giving different presentations and have other events and things going on, and a whole row of the artists of Magic the Gathering. And you can pick up whatever custom tokens they're selling or have whatever cards you want to get signed. But with all that said, MagicCon is not a race. Don't feel pressure to do everything all at once. The only time pressure in MagicCon is the events that you scheduled and the merch booth. If you are interested in picking up specific MagicCon stuff, your first day will look like waking up early, getting in line, waiting a couple hours, walking in the door, ignoring all of the free stuff that you get with your pass, walking straight to the merch booth, waiting for probably half an hour, and still missing out on a couple things that were sold out anyways. But that is your best chance to get some of the merchandise that is specific to the event. And if you're interested in that, that's what you do. Pick it all up on the first day, don't worry about it. Similarly, while you are at the event, the prizes on the back wall will vary from day to day. If there's something you want, get it as soon as you have tickets for it. If you put it off to the last day, you're not going to be left with nothing. There's always stuff up there, but it might not be that cool thing that you saw Friday night when you were still kind of finding your bearings. So if you do see something on the prize wall, pick it up when it's available. And that just about sums up your experience at MagicCon. But there's other things you can do while not at the event. I'm not going to give advice on anything that you're doing in Vegas. I'll leave that to you. That's not my expertise. But if you can't get enough magic after the event is over, talk to some of those friends that you made throughout the day. Because one of the best parts of a convention like this is the hotel lobbies and people's Airbnbs, where people will continue to play Magic till 3 or 4 a.m. Find some of those friends, find those new connections, and you can really make the most of it. And by doing that, we build our community that much more. And that's basically all of MagicCon, top to bottom. But what about after the event? What do we do after MagicCon? Because I think that can be really important too. So we're leaving MagicCon. The first thing we want to do is close up our campsite. We want to make sure that everything's accounted for and that we have it all packed. Go through and make sure you have all of the decks and things that you brought with you, that you have all of the new cards and new products that you bought, and that everything is neatly and securely fastened so you are ready to go. The worst thing you can do while leaving MagicCon is leave stuff at MagicCon or in your hotel room. So make sure that all of that is secured and accounted for. Once you leave though, I think there's still more you can do. Because again, Magic the Gathering is about community. So after you leave MagicCon, reach out to some of those people that you made friends with. Keep those lines of communication open, because it can be really cool to build that remote connection. And even if they're not nearby, with things like Spell Table or other online systems, even Magic Arena, if you're both interested in Standard, you can keep those connections alive and keep those friendships going long into the future. Tag up at future MagicCons and just continue to have that community grow. It's a really cool opportunity to meet new faces, expand your network of friends, and it just really makes for a wonderful adventure. I look forward to seeing you there, and if you do see me at MagicCon, please come up to me and say hi. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and I am always down to get a game in. I'll see you there.